So The Last of Us Part 1 will cost $70. Is that too expensive? We asked the Gaming Gig faithful, and 89% of you said yes, while only 11% said no, and that's out of 188 vote sample size.
So, I think this is a very multi-layered question. Because one, The Last of Us Part 1 being $70, is that too expensive? Obviously, most people think so. But I think if we had just asked the question, are $70 games too expensive? I think it would have been a pretty similar number that said yes.
Yeah. I wonder if it was 60, what it would look like.
Well, see, the thing is, the bar is now set at 70.
Yeah.
So anything comes in under, it's going to seem like a value, I guess.
Yeah. True. What do you think about this stuff, Randy? I read the poll results, so you get to start.
Okay. $70 for this game. This game is the creme de la creme of games.
Yeah.
So if you've played it before and you don't feel like you want to play it again, of course it's not worth $70 to you. Of course it's not.
Yeah.
Just wait. For those of us who are really into this game and love it this much and who appreciate it this much, $70, I'll be honest, $70 stings on any game.
Yeah.
And I love games.
Yeah.
But $70 stings on all games. So
$70
I don't want to make it
stings on anything.
Right. I don't want to make it seem like I'm cool with $70, but if that's the price that just games cost, that's the price games cost. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt to spend it, but to me, is it too expensive? Well, that's just the price games are. So, I mean, like, I'm okay with it. I've at least accepted it.
You're saying you don't think they should discount The Last of Us? You think it should make the normal price that a game goes for these days? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that, like, I don't think that it should be a discount title.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think just because it's a remaster or remake that it should be a discount title. There's all the remasters, or like remakes, I should say. Pretty much every remake that I know of recently is pretty much coming out at a full price game.
Oh, yeah.
Now, say like Demon's Souls that came out at the beginning of the PS5. That came out as a full price game, and that's a remake. Let's think of other things that have come out that are remakes. Oh, we just had one for Nintendo Switch, Live Alive, came out, and it's $50.
Yeah, it's not a full price.
It's not, but it is a remake of a SNES game. So,
From like 1994, I think.
yeah, so maybe it's close though.
Yeah.
But still.
But Nintendo's not charging $70 for Switch games anyway.
No, they're only charging $60.
Yeah.
So they gave
Have to wait for the Switch Pro to pay $70.
But like, the Skyward Sword came out and it was full price. So.
And they caught a little heat for that.
They did. I'm trying to think of other remakes that have come out recently.
I mean, there's Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII, that was a full price game.
But that is a massive remake. That is like, they might as well have just remade a game, or just made a new game. I mean, it was.
Yeah. So, I think that remakes, most of the time, it makes sense for them to be full price games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I like that full price games are $70. That hurts. It's, especially if you're really into gaming and you buy a lot of games, it adds up and it adds up quick.
Yeah, it does. Well, we've done a whole episode about, how much of the market is remakes and remasters and all that. And so if you're interested in those statistics, go back and check that out. But we've also kind of talked about a couple times, I think, on the podcast, we've mentioned how not all games created equal, right? So like, some games are not worth $70. Some games aren't worth $20. And some games, and I think we've used Breath of the Wild as an example, is worth over $100. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so
it's hard to put a value on something that great.
And The Last of Us, to me, is even better. It's my favorite game ever. So is it worth $70? Abso-freaking-lutely. But I do hear you that $70 hurts no matter what. And like you said, I think if we'd asked, is $70 too much for new games? We still got a lot of yeses.
Yeah, it would probably.
And I might have been a yes. I mean, I don't know. It's a nuanced issue.
But I do want to, like, if you've never played The Last of Us, The Last of Us is like one of the best games that you can play, period.
Yes.
And I mean of all time. This is really the top tier of games, in my opinion. I mean, it's obviously my opinion. Not everyone's going to agree with me.
S tier, baby.
But so if you're looking at a game that's going to, if any game's worth, full price, I'd say that
this is it.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I'm not saying that, like, I get that it's an older game, but, like, guys, this is the game.
Yeah, it's the game.
So let's see what people have to say about this, because we had some comments.
We sure did.
We have Daryl Dean, who said, considering it doesn't need a remake in the first place, I'd say yes, it's too expensive. I understand the argument that it doesn't need a remake because the original is amazing.
And we've gone on record saying it doesn't need.
It doesn't need a remake, but I'll take one.
That's right.
And I will say that I personally, one of my least favorite things about the original Last of Us is the model for Ellie. I do not like the model they use for Ellie.
Why?
To me, it just looks weird. I don't know. It was modeled after Juno. Mm-hmm. The movie Juno. Juno is modeled after that character, obviously, and it just is cringy to me.
It was. Yeah, I didn't even know that they had actually said that before, and I said that to you one day, and you were like, "Yeah, that's."
I don't know that they've actually come out and said it, but it's pretty obvious.
I thought you said it had pretty much been acknowledged.
The Last of Us has Juno in there. So it's
fingernails.
To me, it's like that model. Every time I look at it, it just makes me be like, I don't like that. So I'm so glad that they have changed the model.
There it is, right there.
Yeah. I'm really glad that they've changed that particular model. That's obviously the most changed. Mm-hmm. They changed Joel. They've changed everybody. They've updated them. But Ellie's model really needed to be changed, in my opinion.
That weirds me. That surprises me that you feel so strongly about that.
I don't know why. It just
looks like Ellie to me.
I mean, it looks like, but it also looks like Juno.
Yeah, but I like Ellie a lot more than Juno.
Juno was a good movie.
Hadn't seen that in forever.
But it just to me is like.
If you wonder why we're like looking off camera, there's a poster right behind the camera. I'm not just like looking into the ether and like thinking about Juno and Ellie.
So.
Anyway. We got us another comment here. Or you still got something?
No, go ahead.
So we got Larry House, longtime commenter. He said it's totally worth picking up and playing for those who are new to the series, or better yet, new to PlayStation. I'd say yeah, it's a game worth playing. But if you've played the original or even the remaster, I couldn't justify the price.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair. If you're not a fanatic.
Yeah, I'd say that if you played the original and you're not a fanatic, if you're a fanatic, you're already super excited about this. You don't care what the price is.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way I'd say, unless you are super excited about it, but you just cannot afford the $70. And if you're in that scenario, I completely get you. I feel you. I would suggest waiting because I do think this game is going to see a steep discount in
a day.
No.
A
week.
Week.
I shouldn't say that because I would normally say I think it's going to see a steep discount after maybe like 3 or 4 months. Maybe wait till like Black Friday and you'll probably get a really great deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Sony is changing. They're trying to become more like Nintendo, where they don't discount their Sony, like their games.
That's bad for us.
Nintendo has done that very successfully.
Oh yeah, they have.
Excuse me. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't, as you know, if you could go, you look for Breath of the Wild, which was a launch Switch game, and there's a very good chance that if you go look for it, it's still going to be $60. It has not gone down in price.
Oh, GameStop! I just told you. I'm looking for a copy of Smash Ultimate because I only have it digitally. And I was at GameStop, and their used copy that they had there was $54
for used.
Yeah.
60 for the new, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Sony is trying to do this with their first-party games. They're not discounting them as much. So if you had asked me a year or two ago, I would have said, just wait, it's going to go on heavy discount. But now I'm not so sure. That being said, there are other ways to play these games. Specifically, I would look, if you really, really want to play this game and you just don't have the $70, I would look into GameFly.
Yeah.
Because GameFly, at least as far as I know, still has a free month trial that they offer. You could get the game for free, play it, and then send it back. So there's always that.
That'd be a great idea. You could play a few games, probably.
Yeah, so there's always options out there. I would say that GameFly is very underutilized. by most people. So our last comment we had here about the price of the PlayStation is, this one is from,
Seriously?
I should have read the name before putting it. This is Hoff, Jack Hoff.
The name's Hoff.
Hoff. It's Hoff, Jack Hoff. Mr. Hoff says,
it's just a funny name. It just sounds funny. I don't know. Anyway.
Says it's only bad if companies start gouging. 60 versus 70 is basically the same. I wanted to bring this comment up because I do think that there is a conversation to be had that $70 isn't that different than 60. It's been 60 for a long time, and now it's up $10. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, $70 now is still cheaper than $60 was back in the day, if you adjust for inflation. So there's some truth to this.
There's some truth to it. At the same time, though, I mean, if you don't have $70, $70 is going to seem like a lot.
Absolutely.
I have $70, and still $70 seems like a lot.
And I'd like to keep it.
Yeah, I do think that I agree. The only times that I see that it really bothers me is when companies are charging more than the going rate, which does occasionally happen. Generally, it only happens with deluxe versions or things like that.
Yeah.
But that really does kind of bother me. I mean, I get that a lot of work goes in these games, and sometimes maybe it'll be worth it to some people, but I don't know. I think there's a whole conversation to be said, should games have a set price? Should all games be the same price? And just know that some games are going to be worth the price and some aren't. Some be worth more, some be not. I don't know. Or should games
just be set based on value?
But it's hard to say what the value is,
Yeah, and that would be wild because our whole lives it's basically been $60 or cheaper. Some games just wouldn't be full price. And
then as they get older, they get discounted.
Yeah.
Except if you're Nintendo games.
Yeah. So I don't know. That would be an interesting
there's
world to live in.
There's a conversation to be had about that. Because I do agree somewhat that 70 is pretty similar to 60. But at the same time, not everyone has 60,
Yeah.
So it's
we've said on here before that we're very lucky that we can buy games and play all these games. So I totally get it. That is a totally different issue than should I spend this money because you can't dodge.
We need to do
that's a totally different issue.
We need to do a podcast and then episodes about gaming on a budget, how to game on a budget. If you are on a budget, what are your best options? Because I understand, I do those things anyway. I really try to take in as many games as possible for the cheapest amount. So that does mean that I very rarely go out and buy a full price game. Almost never.
Yeah. I don't really get on day one very often for games in general. There's games that come out that I just make it a point to do, but don't always do it.
I try to do whatever I can.
Yeah.
But you guys tell us, is The Last of Us Part 1 too expensive at $70? We want to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Are $70 games just too expensive in general?